Support structures and partnerships are essential to the development of good, inclusive schools. All of the schools featured in this resource were working closely with parents, developing strong governing bodies, and making partnerships with specialist advisors and their local community. Many were making strong links with other schools to support transition, and some schools had developed partnerships with outside agencies to support children with nutrition programs, counseling, and after-school activities. Creative and inquiring school-based support teams, training and strong links with district learning support educators were also key to the development of good inclusive practice. Ebhotwe Primary serves the township of Mdantsane in the Old Transkei. It is an area of high unemployment and poverty. The school works with many different individuals and organizations through its school-based support team to meet the needs of disabled and disadvantaged learners.
And a sprawling shack of houses or squatter camps right around the area, where about a half of a school ratio is the learners who are from those squatter camps. Some are child-headed families, some are orphans.
The school nutrition program ensures that children here get food and drinks each day. The school works with voluntary organizations such as Rehab, and some children at Ebhotwe receive support from the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. Ebhotwe is a full-service school supporting many learners with learning difficulties, and staff are dedicated to working inclusively.
By bringing those children with problems, it helps them not to feel discriminated. They feel as the part of the community, not as it was done before. When they were kept at home, the parents felt shy about them. Now, with this inclusive education, they feel as the part of the community.
Miss Mgole is a member of the school-based support team. The team also includes the principal, other teachers and members of the community. The team advises staff on support strategies for any child who's experiencing difficulties.
We've got a police in our institutional learner support team. We've got a nurse there. Also, we've got an occupational therapist, a member of disabled people in South Africa. One lady here is also in support group, the one for HIV and AIDS. We also have a remedial teacher included. We look at people with expertise who are going to assist us. We've got a vibrant team here.
The team supports staff to plan support for any child experiencing difficulties. The team works closely with parents and seeks the advice of other specialists when necessary. At the time of filming, Ebhotwe Primary was using temporary accommodation. The Department of Education is renovating Ebhotwe's own school buildings to ensure they are accessible as part of its program for the conversion of ordinary schools into full-service schools. When in their own classrooms, staff regularly display children's work to encourage all children to feel proud of their achievements and to show the children's work to the whole community.
We've got an accommodation problem, but we used to place our learners' completed task on the chalkboard so that even the parents can see the child's work. Whoever is coming to visit the child's class can see the work.
At Ebhotwe, the school-based support team work to promote inclusion within the whole community.
We also have community workshops so that they know inclusive education and how it works, because we found out that we do this inclusive education in the lower level, but up the higher primary, high school, it is not practiced. So we do help also the educators of the higher primaries, where our kids move from our school through those schools. So we interact with them all the time. We share the information.
At Ebhotwe, each child has a learner profile. It includes as much information as possible on each child's skills, learning needs, and any medical needs. The learner profile is passed from grade to grade, and information is added by each grade teacher.
When the children are leaving our school at grade 4 to grade 5, we move that back. We move that learner profile to the school where the child will be attending grade 5 too. That is, we move the whole information moves to the next school so that those teachers knows exactly how to handle that particular child. Inclusive education is not about being perfect, it's about understanding the strength, the can-dos of a particular person.
Poverty is a barrier to learning at Mahlasedi Masana Primary in Gauteng province. To counter this, the school works with Tatene, a Venezuelan NGO, to provide after-school support to children orphaned by HIV and AIDS, children with HIV and AIDS, and children living in poverty.
After school, we have what we call a drop-in center in our school here. These children, because if they can rush to home, they will find no one who has prepared food for them or who will help them with their homeworks. So the Tateni people come to our school after school and try and help, give these learners a meal, help them with their homeworks, help them with whatever support that they need. Yes.
Okay. You've got the right idea. Perfect. Remember,
Norkem Park is a suburban primary in the East Rand of Gauteng. Pupils come from a wide range of local communities, and the school's 1,050 learners includes many disabled children. The school has established an active and supportive governing body, which raises funds each year to supplement government funding.
and the rest of it?
Here I like.
Recognizing a great need for counselling within the school, some of the funds raised are used to employ a full-time social worker.
Okay.
Emmy provides counselling to pupils, parents and staff. Refilwe's father died recently and he attends bereavement counselling.
And this one? I find that there's a lot of bereavement counselling that gets done. Many children have lost a parent, many children have lost both parents. There's a lot of divorce, there's domestic violence, children not coping in the classroom, behaviour problems, and then they come for counselling and we find out what the problem is. I work with these children, try and build up self-esteem. That is the type of work that I do. So you want to remember the happy memories and celebrate your dad's life.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he was such a good dad.
It was helping me a lot because I can let out my feelings and tell Mrs. Clark how I feel and what happens when this happens and the things that are helping me.
Do children benefit?
Definitely. I think all schools should have a social worker. And I've also found that the children, once they realise that they can speak to you and it's confidential, that it's not going to go further, they tell their friends. And then the friends say, please can we come and see you about whatever the issue is in their lives. Okay, what is your favourite?
Emmy works closely with the University of South Africa, and each year, final year students supplement her work in the school.
So that affects every time she's in class.
Norkem Park's school-based support team includes a teacher representative from each grade and works closely with outside specialists, including speech therapists, occupational therapists, and opticians. The school encourages staff to attend training to support disabled pupils in class.
Well, we are getting our teachers to understand how to work with children specifically with attention deficit. And at the moment I'm studying through UNISA, doing inclusive education so that I can assist teachers more to help children in the classroom situation. Because there's really a big need for that. I think our school is very open-minded and we've taken things as they come along and adjusted and enriched ourselves so that we're able to cope with situations.
What advice would you give to schools just starting to develop inclusive practice?
Attend courses because the more you learn about something, the more you can put it into practice and take small steps at a time. You obviously can't solve it all, but in small ways they can start to deal with issues.
Is the school-based support team effective?
Definitely, because I think children that might have been lost in the system before are now identified by their teachers, referred to a member of the school-based support team, and then those children are immediately given the assistance that they require. So it certainly makes learning a little easier for those children, and they're not as disruptive as they would be if no help was given to them. So it also aids the discipline within the school.
Fanti Gaqa Senior Primary has over 990 pupils. With only 16 classrooms, classes are large with around 60 pupils in each class. The school has worked in partnership with parents to fund and build ramps, and now much of the school site has good access. Fanti Gaqa is a full-service school, and we met some of the school's disabled learners.
She wants to be a social worker.
I want to be a nurse.
A nurse.
Yes. In the offices,
She wants to have her own offices.
Okay. Well, in a business, you want to run a business?
We are fundiswa apha, and if you don't know something, teachers can help you to know it.
And
Friendly. She is saying children here are friendly.
And in this school there are computers, and this school are different to other schools.
You use this finger on the left.
The school has recently established a well-resourced computer room. Sikumbuzo is an ex-pupil and old head boy. He now runs a technology company. Sikumbuzo is convinced that all children can benefit from learning computer skills, and so he's given some of his time to help the school establish and use this resource. The equipment was funded by sponsorship, local businesses, and fundraising events. Computers in schools can support disabled children very effectively. There are many adaptations and lots of educational software which are specially designed to make writing, reading, and learning accessible for children with physical, sensory, and learning difficulties. The Department of Education is currently supplying assistive technology to some inclusive schools. This program will be expanded over the next few years.
We're going to do a couple of hits.
Tamise has Down syndrome. She attended a local nursery school and is now in grade 3 at Springvale Primary.
We thought it was a good way of introducing it into the community. We didn't want to hide her. We wanted to expose her to every opportunity available.
Tamise is happy and making good progress at Springvale. To support Tamise, Glenda, her teacher, works very closely with Tamise's parents, with Nevi, the school-based support team coordinator, and with Hunley, the district learning support educator.
So she completed the worksheet the same as the others.
Together they adapt the curriculum and develop support strategies to support Tamise.
I placed her at my desk close to where I am so I can keep an eye on her. I've adapted certain of the worksheets so that she only has to do part of them, and she uses calculators and things like that instead of using her mental maths.
How did Glenda feel about having a pupil with learning difficulties in her class?
I have to be honest, initially I thought it wasn't such a good idea, but having Tamise in my classes changed my mind.
Glenda recognises that the whole class benefits from inclusive education.
One day when these kids go out into the workplace and there's somebody there with cerebral palsy or with Down syndrome, they're not going to be afraid of them, because a lot of people are afraid of what they don't know. And they now know that Down syndrome isn't anything to be scared of, or a deaf child is nothing to be scared of. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I've learned, is just to teach acceptance, and I think it's been fantastic.
Tamise's class are working on road safety. Tamise's mom has experience as a classroom assistant, and she has adapted some of the work to be more visual, colour-coded and accessible to Tamise.
Safe cycling. I mean, it's too much information for Tamise. For me, the important part is, what do I want to teach Tamise when she rides a bicycle? So I've adapted a worksheet like this, and I said, okay, safe cycling. She needs to know that she always needs to stay on the side of the road. You can't ride a bicycle in the middle of the street. The same thing with school safety. What's important for Tamise on the school grounds, that she can only play on the school grounds, and then what she can do, yes or no, she can circle, because then that's easy for her to recognize.
Through the team, these resources developed for Tamise will also benefit other learners at Springvale and other schools. In her role as District Support Learning Educator, Hunley works with up to 20 schools on the outskirts of Pretoria. She provides teacher training and works with school principals, teachers and parents to develop good inclusive practice. Hunley works with many teachers. What makes a good inclusive teacher?
It's all about mindset. It must be a teacher that's willing to learn, to be open for learning and reflecting, and has a good self-esteem. If she feels like this didn't work, she must not feel like a failure. She must see it as, okay, this is a learning opportunity. Let's try something different. So a lot of creativity, a lot of thinking on her feet, adjusting, and being able to go and look for help.
Clever boy.
Rakladi attends Valhalla Primary, one of the schools Hunley works with. Rakladi has Down syndrome. He loves school and is supported in class by differentiated worksheets and adapted tasks. At Valhalla, Rakladi is learning English. Language is one of the many skills he is learning both from his teacher and from his peers.
That's the other secret ingredient of inclusive education, is the other kids. The teacher, she's only the leader of the group. Rakladi has got 39 other learners, that's also his teachers, and that's the benefit of inclusive education to me, is that socialization. This is not all about academic. We are striving for, of course, progress, but that's not all. Life skills is important, functional learnings, things that the child will use when he leaves school at the end of grade 9 or moving into a job.